In the world of broadcast television, there are absolutely no do-overs. When you're live, you're live. It's a 24/7, 365 days a year operation where there is literally zero tolerance for failure. So, how do you not just stay afloat, but actually thrive in an environment like that? Well, the answer is something called operational excellence. And today, we're going to break down exactly how the pros build systems that just don't fail. So for a little context here, what you're watching is part 6 of a 10-part series. We're pulling all of this insight directly from a fantastic research report called Modern Television Information Technology Requirements. And today, we're diving deep into Chapter 6, which is all about operational excellence. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to define what operational excellence really means in the broadcast world. Then we're going to build out our understanding on 3 core pillars: the people, the processes, and the proof. And finally, we'll see how all of this comes together to help us plan for whatever's coming next. Let's be honest. A modern broadcast facility is, well, it's a unique kind of beast. It is such a high-pressure environment where a single dropped frame or just a second of dead air isn't some minor glitch. No, it's a massive failure that millions of people see, all in real time. The technical complexity is just staggering, and the pace of change? It is absolutely relentless. And this is exactly why operational excellence is so much more than just reliability. I mean, it's not enough to just keep the signal on the air. It's really a deep-seated commitment to making everything better. I'm talking more efficient workflows, smarter systems, and a real culture of always improving. It's about constantly evolving, not just maintaining the status quo. And that brings us to our first, and you could argue it's the most important pillar: the people. Technology, at the end of the day, is only as good as the team running it. And in today's broadcast world, the skills you need have fundamentally changed. And the source report just hits the nail on the head with this quote. I mean, it perfectly captures the central challenge here. The ideal person for a modern broadcast team is a hybrid. And that specific combination of skills, it is incredibly hard to find out there. And this right here is that hybrid need in action. Think about it. A traditional broadcast engineer, someone who knows video signals and RF code, now has to be an expert in IP networking and virtualization. And at the exact same time, a pure IT professional coming into this world has to wrap their head around concepts that just don't exist in a normal office, like the absolute, non-negotiable need for microsecond-level timing precision. It's a whole new ballgame for everyone. Okay, so let's move on to our second pillar, processes. Having the right people is absolutely crucial, but even the best people need a solid framework to succeed. And that's where systems designed for constant, continuous improvement come into play. A perfect example of this is something called the after-action review. It doesn't matter if it's after a huge event like the Super Bowl or just a normal daily newscast, this process creates this incredibly powerful feedback loop. You systematically document everything that happened, you celebrate the wins, you honestly analyze what went wrong, and, this is the most important part, you create a real action plan for improvement. This is how an organization actually learns and stops repeating the same mistakes over and over again. So we've got the right people and we've got the right processes. But how do we actually prove that we're succeeding? Well, that brings us to our third pillar, the proof. This is all about moving beyond gut feelings and using hard data, metrics, and KPIs to measure, well, everything. Here's a great example of this, the concept of headroom. A key metric for a lot of top-tier broadcasters is to never let their network links peak above 50% utilization. Now, that might sound wasteful, right? But what it really does is provide a massive 2x buffer. It ensures that when some unexpected traffic burst hits, and trust me, it will, the network can handle it without a single dropped frame. No stutter, no glitch on screen. And you see the exact same logic applied to storage. The target might be 75% utilization. Again, this isn't just about leaving empty space. It's about having a critical buffer that ensures performance doesn't start to degrade as the system gets full. Plus, it gives you time to react before you completely run out of space. It's this perfect balance between being cost-efficient and operationally safe. And, it goes way beyond just the health of your servers and your network. You have to track the actual work that's being done. How many news stories are we producing? How long does it take to turn a story around? How many files are moving around the system and how fast? This is the kind of data that gives you visibility into how things are really being used, which is the foundation for any kind of smart planning. And that leads us perfectly into our final section, planning for the future. Now we can take all 3 of our pillars, our skilled people, our learning processes, and our data-driven proof, and use them to build a strategy that's truly resilient. See, planning for the future really requires 2 different ways of thinking.
First, you have trend analysis, which looks at all that data we've been collecting to project a sort of baseline for the future. But we also need scenario planning because, let's face it, the future is uncertain. What happens if we suddenly have to transition to 4K? Or what if we launch a massive new streaming service? You have to have a plan for multiple different possibilities.
So once you have those future scenarios mapped out, how do you actually get there? Well, you use a process called gap analysis. This is the really practical, honest step where you compare what you have today with where you need to be tomorrow. It shows you the specific gaps in capacity, performance, whatever it is. And that's what turns a vague future goal into a concrete list of actual projects you need to do.
So let's just bring this all together. Operational excellence isn't some project with a start and end date. It's a culture. And it's a culture that's built on 3 pillars. It starts with people who have those rare hybrid skills. It's supported by processes, like the after-action review, that are all about continuous improvement. And it's all guided by proof, hard data and metrics that tell you what's really going on and help you plan for the future. And that really leaves us with one final and I think critical question. As you look at your own operation, think about that gap analysis. Which gap, whether it's in your team skills, your internal processes, or your technology stack, which one poses the single most urgent threat to your future success? Because answering that, that's the first step toward true operational excellence.